Hi, welcome to AIGE graphic design class. My name is Obina, only called Obisco. So today we are going to be introducing you to the concept of graphic design and some principles that you need to understand as a graphic designer. And yeah, that's it. So let's get started. Um, so graphic design is the act and practice of using typography, imagery, and other visual elements to communicate ideas and messages. Graphic designers use their skills to create a wide variety of visual communications, including logo design, flyer, business cards, templates, landing pages, brochure, etc. So a graphic design is just a combination of important elements, which typography, which refers to writings, text you see on the screen, imagery, pictures, and other visual elements. So if you look at this slide, for example, you see we have typography here, we have imagery, and we have other visual elements that you can see around um, this slide that combines to make it a graphic or a visual communication because I'm communicating with you from this slide. So elements of graphic design, like we mentioned, the first one is typography, which has to do with the text on your design. Color, we all know what color is. This is white color, it's purple, it's orange. So then we have line, like you can see here. We have space. So this white region and the white region in between these elements here are all space. Then shapes, these are all rectangular shapes. We have circular shape here, so many other shapes. Imagery, if you look at this logo here, it's an image with all this imagery that you see here. Um, texture is not here, but texture has to do with patterns, different patterns, mostly used for background or to create emphasis. So let's talk about layout design principles. Um, so layout design principles, real quick. So a layout refers to a way that text and graphics are arranged on a canvas to communicate message effectively. So this the canvas is just like a white sheet of paper where you're going to do your design. So layout is how you intend to arrange your elements, that's your pictures, your text, and every other thing that is in the design inside the um, what you're trying to design. So a layout design refers to how text is arranged on a canvas to communicate message effectively. Principles of design give designer a set of guidelines on how to design visually appealing composition. So if you understand principle of design, it's easy for you to design something. So if you assume that this whole slide you're looking at is empty, then that is your layout. How you arrange your design on it. So if you see the layout that I've taken, I've placed this at the top, I've placed my chunk of text at this side here, I've placed the logo here, and I placed a little amount of design on this side. So this is my own layout. So if you follow these principles, it will help you know how to arrange because you don't just start designing and arrange your designs anyhow you feel on your the layout. So you have to have a layout design that you'd like to follow. So there are principles, and these principles include hierarchy, balance, unity, variety, and you can create digital products and graphic design that people would love to use. So the first one is hierarchy. Refers to the order of importance of elements in the design. So using size, color, and placement of elements can use it to organize elements in a way that guides the viewer eye and emphasizes important information. So if you look at this sample design here, the first thing you would notice when your eye falls on this design is this large chunk of text, which is stop road accidents. After that, your eye will probably move to the next one, which is this. And then probably your eye would come here. So probably your eye will come to this phone number, to this, and probably to this. So this is what we call hierarchy. It's just a way to um, make the most important message to be more obvious. So the message with the highest hierarchy here is stop road accidents today because it's the biggest. Then followed by this, and followed by the phone number. So in your design, make sure that whatever is the highest, whatever is the main message of the design should have the highest form of hierarchy to create emphasis. So that is hierarchy. The next one is balance. So balance refers to visual distribution of elements in a design. Balance can be symmetrical or asymmetrical, but it is important to ensure that your design feels balanced to the viewer. So balance is just like whatever you do to the left, make sure it's also in the right. If you look at this design, you have this text here. You can count on us and this all this text here, and this other text here balancing this image. Okay, so if there was no image here, this design would feel, let's say this place is just white space, this design would feel unbalanced. And this the kind of balance we have here is asymmetrical because you are using different types of elements to create balance. So assuming we have one picture here and the same picture on this side, then we'll have what we call symmetrical balance. But because we're using text to balance the picture, this is asymmetrical balance. So this is another example of balance. So this could be said, I can say this is a symmetrical balance because um, everything is centralized because whatever is here is also here, and it creates that balance. And you also need to note that you don't use one design principle for your design. So if you see here, we have the hierarchy, happy new month, then we have balance. So two design principles here. We have more, which we are going to study as we go on. The next one is contrast. And contrast refers to the difference between elements in a design. So using contrasting colors, shapes, and size or textures can create visual interest and help important elements stand out. So contrast is just like hierarchy. It's what you do to achieve hierarchy. Contrast is making elements stand out. And if you look at this design here, what stands out most is this don't quit here because it has the highest contrast and therefore has the highest hierarchy. Okay. So every other thing that is not every other thing has a lower contrast and therefore a lower hierarchy. Then alignment. Alignment refers to the placement of elements in a design. So aligning elements to a grid or other visual structure can help create a sense of order and hierarchy. This can refer to their alignment in relation to the entire composition, left, center, or right aligned, as well as their alignment to one another. So alignment is just making sure that elements are on the same position. So if you look at this design, you see that this logo here, this text here, everything is aligned to the left. I remember we said we have three types of alignments: left alignment, or not just three types, but we have left alignment, center alignment, right alignment. We also have top and bottom alignment. So if you look at this design here, we have depending on where you're sitting. So this is left alignment. So everything here is aligned to the left. And if you look at these pictures here, you see that everything is aligned to the top. So they all have the same top here. And these two elements are everything is aligned to this side. So that is alignment. And then we have proximity. So proximity refers to the relationship between elements in a design. Grouping related elements together can help create a sense of organization or hierarchy. So in a nutshell, what proximity means is that puts similar or related information in the same area or in the same place or close to each other. If you look at this design now, this is the venue for this. This is a flyer for an event. This is the venue of the event. This is the date and this is the time. So Venue, date, and time are related elements, and that's why they are placed in this kind of box here, box-like element here. So the next place you can find proximity is with these pictures. Since these are pictures of speakers, they are placed in the same, they're aligned, and you see alignment is used here, so they're aligned in the same area. So assuming this picture is here, this one is here, and this one is here. There's no proximity. Another thing that has proximity is the sponsors because they are all the same. They are under the same category. So that is proximity for you. Put related information in the same area or in the same uh, place. The next one is repetition. Repetition refers to use of consistent visual elements throughout a design. Repetition can help create a sense of unity and cohesiveness. So repetition just means if you're using green, white, and black color, use it throughout your design. If you're using a particular type of font, use it throughout your design. Repetition can also mean repeating some elements or some design elements in your design. So that is repetition. Then white space. White space refers to areas of design that are intentionally left blank. So white space help to create a sense of balance and emphasis, as well as make your design feel less cluttered. So less cluttered is very important. So if you look at this design, you see there's a lot of white space, and white space does not mean literally using white color. So it's just a place where you don't have much design, like all these empty places here. They are the white space of the design. So if you also look at this slide here, you can see that there's a lot of, so here we have actually have white color representing our white space. So this is just to make your design feel less cluttered and make it easier to read. So if you have so many things on your design, it is difficult for your users to, or for your viewers to understand. So let's do a little practice um, the principles of layout design. So here we have white space, we have balance, we have left alignments, and we have what else do we have? We have contrast. So you see that this purple color creates contrast. So here we have center alignment, there's contrast and hierarchy here. Then you have white space all around it. Here you have contrast, here you have white space, you have center alignment, and then you have proximity. I did not mention proximity, so everything here is, see, they are close to each other. Then here we have alignment, we have white space, we have um, contrast and hierarchy, we have proximity. All these pictures are aligned together. Then we have what else? Um, we have balance, so everything here is properly balanced. So here we have proximity, we have balance. This is, you can call this is symmetrical balance because whatever is here is also here. Center alignment, proximity, and white space. Then here we also have repetition because you see that blue and yellow color is used consistently throughout the design. So that's repetition. Let's also see repetition here. This purple color is used consistently throughout the design, so that is repetition. Also here, repetition, repetition here too. Red color used throughout, red and white used throughout the design. Okay. Then same thing here. You have alignment here, center alignment. Everything here is, you have proximity here. Rest. So let's talk about typography. So typography is the art of arranging letters and text in a way that makes the copy legible, clear, and visually appealing to the reader. So typography brings your text to life. So when you hear typography, we are simply talking about text. All the text you see in the design is typography. So typography, we have different styles. We have Helvetica, Futura, Garamond, Boldini. So as you progress in your design, you get to know more fonts. So the fonts and typefaces. So it's a very important concept in design. What we often refers to as font is actually typeface. So a typeface is a name given to a group of related fonts, while a font is the width, and the styles of a constitute a typeface. So a typeface is like a family, it's like a family of or a group of fonts. Okay, so it's just like how you have a university and you have different departments under the university. So oftentimes um, uh, we call departments universities. So that's what I'm trying to illustrate when I say we quote we interchange typeface for font. So example is we have a typeface called Helvetica, and the fonts under Helvetica are Helvetica regular, Helvetica oblique, Helvetica light, Helvetica bold. So the name of the um, font is typeface. Then the different styles, bold, italics, and light are all the different fonts in design. So we have different types of typefaces. The first one is serif typefaces. And how we know serif typefaces is that they have these angles here, this kind of this like all these spikes or angles, and they have this kind of traditional feel to them. If you've read a lot of formal letters or legal documents, you see that they are written with this kind of typeface. They have this kind of styles on them. Then we have serif means, and these styles you see here, this kind of like this S, this style you see on the S, like a shape here, like a spike, is called a serif. So the same thing on the R, the same thing on the F, T. So all the fonts that have things like this are called serif fonts. Then sans serif fonts, they have smooth surfaces, which means they don't have this sharp um, kind of angular shapes. They have smooth surfaces and they look smooth to the eye. So these are called sans serif. And sans serif is in Latin, I think, refers to no serif. So no serif, sans serif typeface. Then script typeface are the ones that look like handwriting, mostly used for anything that deals with things like wedding cards, love letters, those kind of things. They are called script typefaces. Then decorative typefaces are the ones that have the kind of decorative feeling to them. So these are four major kinds of typefaces that you will encounter as a designer. So let's identify typefaces on these designs. Okay. So on here, if you look closely, we have a serif font because of this, these those shapes here. Here we have a sans serif font because it doesn't have those kind of shapes um, you notice on sans serif font, on serif font. So here we also have serif fonts. Here we have what script font. Then here we also have serif fonts. Same thing here, serif font. So a lot of serif font is used here, and you can see we have our principles of balance and repetition, alignment, and white space in this design. Same thing here. Here we have script font. Here we have sans serif font. Script font, sans serif font. This is sans serif font. You can notice all the smooth edges, sans serif font. So you can see the repetition that is used in this design. A lot of sans serif font is used and is maintained throughout the design. This script font is used to create what we call variety. So you don't want your design to just feel monotonous. You want to have something that just breaks the rules occasionally and make your design feel a bit more vibrant. So same thing, see a symmetric balance here. So this text is balancing this picture. And here we have proximity. So related elements are placed in a single region. So here too, let's look at this. We have sans serif fonts here. We have script fonts, sans serif, lots of sans serif fonts here. So rules for fonts: avoid using more than 3 fonts or 3 typefaces for your layout design. Don't use script font for paragraph text. What we mean by paragraph text is when you're writing something like address. So don't use script font for address. Use script font for maybe titles or just want for a text that is standing alone. Then use proper white space to improve legibility. So give a lot of space between your write-ups. Always consider hierarchy, contrast, and alignment when placing text. So consider just like it is done here. They use hierarchy, they use alignment, so everything is properly aligned here. So make sure you observe these principles while designing. So there's what we call font psychology. So fonts are not just selected randomly. When choosing fonts for a layout design, you need to consider the type of message the design is trying to send, and also the brand it represents. So different typefaces have different feelings or emotions attached to them. So for sans serif, it is modern. So if you're designing for products or for companies that are modern, you use sans serif fonts. So when you are doing something that is more traditional, formal, and mature or reliable, you use sans serif font. That's why most banks or some banks, especially if you look at Fidelity Bank, they use sans serif fonts. Stable, you see that serif fonts also have stable. Most banks also use sans serif fonts to portray stability, while serif fonts portrays reliability, formal, and traditional. So we have monospace font. These are mostly um, these are these fall under sans serif fonts. You can see, and also sometimes they can also be considered as decorative fonts. So these show consistency, objective, and neutral. So a lot of tech oriented designs use this kind of fonts. Then we have script fonts. So when you want to be bold or decorative fonts, sorry, if you want to be bold or strong or funky or unique, you might want to use some decorative font to push that narrative, especially when you are designing for kids. You may want to be funky. Then probably when you are doing something for maybe parties or events, you might want to be unique. And when you're advertising products, you might want to be bold or strong. Then for script fonts, you want to be expressive. So script fonts show a lot of expressivity, creativity, and warmth. So warmth is usually associated with female products. Like if you look at Lush hairs, for example, and some other female products, they use a lot of script fonts. So we have more font psychology. So like I said, serif fonts, which are fonts that have these sharp edges here, um, they represent tradition, respectable, reliable, and comfort, luxury. Um, Sans serif fonts represent stability, objective, clean, and modern, while script fonts represent elegance, so a lot of elegance, affectionate, creativity. So um, these then we have modern fonts, which um, we have this a sans serif font. This is also a sans serif font. We have a script font and also another sans serif font. So this they show modern, like it shows that a brand is modern. Then display, which are also called decorative fonts. You may want to be friendly when you are doing children's design or something related to kids. Then unique, probably you're designing for a boutique or for clothing brand. Expressive, what comes to mind. Expressive, you want to for a fashion brand, makeup brand, something like that. DJ brand, then I'm using, you probably for a comedy brand or something like that. So you don't use a traditional font for a comedy. If you are designing a flyer for a comedy event, you want to use a lot of friendly and probably some sans serif fonts. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our first class. So in the next class, we're going to be talking about color. So take time to go and yeah, for your task, what you're supposed to do is go go online get 5 flyers just like these ones. I want you to identify the on a Word, like on a Word document. I want you to paste each, get a flyer like this, paste it on a Word document. Then tell me the principles that you see being used in that design and the typefaces, the different typefaces, that is the fonts or typefaces that I use in design. So you could, for example, you could take this one and on the Word document you can say principles used, balance. You tell me where the balance is. Balance in the picture and prayer title. Proximity. You can say proximity in the social handles. Then you now come and say typeface is used, um, serif, sans serif, serif and sans serif mostly. So that is going to be your task. So when you do that, send it to training at aig.info and also obina at aig.info for your submission. So good luck. If you have any questions, reach out to the instructors in the group chat to ask your questions. See you in the next class.